On the Saturdays, I always show a movie that's entertaining and interesting for one reason or other. Sometimes the movies on Saturdays, sometimes the free movies on Saturdays are bad movies. Sometimes they're excellent movies, but they're always interesting. They're always worth watching. Um, this 12-hour movie stream we're doing right now, these are exclusively bad movies, and many of them don't have any entertainment value at all, as we've already seen. Saturday morning is a mixed bag. Mike is one of the co-hosts there. He provides stuff every Saturday, and he seems to specialize in the stuff that's excruciatingly bad. And but Sunday night is always excellent movies. On the Secret Sunday movies, I give the viewers a choice of what movie to watch, and we pick one and then we watch it. But I need to and there's the donation link that just came up in the chat. Uh, in the meantime, PayPal is telling me I can save $3 off gas at Texaco. Well, that's good to know, I guess. Mike says, surprised? Y'all shouldn't be. Miranda says, I keep thinking about the cartoons with human lips. That was my fault, Miranda. That was actually my fault. The Clutch Cargo cartoons. And you're going to see Clutch Cargo every week. I decided I'm gonna show Clutch Cargo every week with the Synchrovox lips. All right. It's time to start the movie, Creation of the Humanoids. So sit back. This is a bad one. Just this opening. David Cross? No way. It has to be a different David Cross. Story and screenplay by Jay Sims. This is the guy to blame. We won't forget this, Jay. Miranda says, I hate this already. Electronic Harmonics by IFM. IFM. I have all their albums. Yeah. Mike, this movie will be a tire fire. Directed by Wesley E. Berry. Well, maybe we can blame him too.
They had talked and argued for years, trying, they said, to find a way to prevent it. But they failed. No one can be sure who started it, and really that is unimportant.
Is it?
It did happen. The atomic war. It was short, lasted about 48 hours. Within 2 weeks, 92% of the human race had perished to bomb and radiation. Those left, with their birth rate below 1.4 per union, turned to robotic automation devices to help them rebuild their cities and maintain a high standard of living. The first exploratory steps in the development of electronic brains had been taken prior to the atomic war. These early models were bulky and required large buildings to house them. But they merely needed refining.
This movie doesn't change.
One of the first steps was the magnetic integrator neuron duplicator. A device 1/100th of the size of a golf ball which duplicated portions of the human nervous system and carried out learning processes.
Well, thank goodness they put a golf ball next to it.
Automation was also well on its way. But these too were cumbersome and needed further development before the two elements could be joined in the series R1 robot. This first robot was quite ungainly, and its functions were limited. But refinements came in rapid succession.
Wait, was this an improvement?
And soon the R20 was capable of all the thought processes and functions of a man. However, humans found it psychologically impossible to work side by side with a machine that they had to converse with, and which in most instances could outthink them.
But it didn't
Thus
want
it
to talk
was
to
that
the
Hollister
robots?
Evans perfected the R21,
Here we
the
go.
first humanoid robot. This story concerns them, the clickers, as they were disparagingly referred to by
clickers.
some humans.
Oh boy, you can tell this is going to be good. They spent some money on this set, I'll tell you that much.
All right, let's see your assignment cards. What are you clickers doing out tonight?
We're on free time. We're not obligated to answer.
As the member of the Surveillance Committee of the Order of Flesh and Blood, I demand an answer.
We're going to the temple to be recharged.
I think I'll keep you here till your power runs out. How'd you like that?
I'd have to report such interference to the police.
Release them.
Oh, so these guys aren't cops.
Was that satisfactory, Craigus?
Well, the order just wants to keep them mindful of their status. You overlooked one little thing, though.
Yeah, just keep
What?
them in their place.
The robot that didn't talk had a forged card.
Forged? Why, he can be disassembled for that. Let's pick them up.
Be patient.
Well, the temple is just around the corner, and it's out of bounds for us. They'll get away.
Well, they have to come out. And if they're taking a chance using a forged card, they must be up to something that the Order of Flesh and Blood might be interested in.
The Order of Flesh and Blood. The OFB.
Oh, miss. Well, just a moment, miss.
Uh-oh.
May I see your assignment card?
You certainly may not.
Never
Your
pass up
order
an
may get
opportunity
by
to
with
harass.
harassing the robots. But you had better leave citizens alone.
Well, I'm sorry, miss. I just thought, what with so many robots
I
about
feel
these days?
perfectly safe with robots.
We intend to see that you are.
Oh, these guys are bad. These... And they're wearing Confederate hats.
Attractive woman.
Most.
If those robots are being recharged, they'll be in there about an hour.
Well, wait.
So they're going to wait out there.
The subject robot has not yet completed the transformation process in the duplicating lab. Where did you get him?
We bought him new on the black market. He has no name, unassigned and unadapted.
Pay attention to this
He has a forged assignment card.
robot on the left.
Who arranged it?
The inspector in Factory 3. He stole him off the assembly line just prior to numbering. Unfortunately, an inventory was taken, and the inspector was caught.
That was unfortunate. Mark should bring him up from duplicating any minute now.
Yeah, Mike, I think you're on the ball, or you may have cheated already. Yeah, it's Eros. It's our friend Dudley Manlove from Plan 9. And the only other movie I think I've ever seen him in. They're using sound effects from Forbidden
Delay
Planet.
was unavoidable. We were stopped by two members of the Surveillance Committee of the Order of Flesh and Blood, and I was questioned.
Is the duplication satisfactory, Acto? It has to be perfect.
The structure is excellent. The pores should be larger. And he needs a little more hair. Thicker. He needs a 1/8 inch mole behind the lobe of the left ear.
Report back to duplication immediately and have the corrections made.
You can still alter your decision.
Mike, I can think
This is
I
against your
think you can
circuits.
tell
My
he's not going
circuits
to
are
be doing any
unoffended.
ranting in this movie. Which is too bad.
I suppose it takes courage to submit to a thalamic transplant.
There's an unadapted R34. He has no fear circuits. Consequently, he doesn't need courage.
He will before long. Raven's operation will convert him to an R-96 with all the emotions of a human.
Only 4 points less than human.
96.
I wonder what it's like.
Is that what that means? 4 points less.
You will learn how to laugh,
Ouch.
how to cry. Be afraid and hate. To become an R-96
Those contacts look like they
is a
hurt.
real sacrifice. With this one, we will have 16. 10 males and 6 females.
At times, I think we should turn the entire program over to the humans.
It really shouldn't be the responsibility of robots.
The humans aren't ready for it yet. It's still illegal to improve a robot higher than an R-70.
That law was lobbied through by the Order of Flesh and Blood.
The order is becoming more powerful every day. They virtually dictate to the police.
See, they're going to
There are
explain
always
everything to us.
ultra-conservative pressure groups set against advancement.
But why? Why? It's not in the best interests of humans to hold back the development of robots.
They won't for long. We're filling key positions with R-96s as fast as we got them.
Oh, really?
I still have an occasional doubt.
You may withdraw if you're contra-circuited.
I'm unoffended.
Mark, you better go down and join the volunteer. Hurry things along. The human he replaces has already been out of circulation for 4 hours. The less time a man is unaccounted for, the better. According to the latest tabulations by the brain, by the 1st of next month, we will outnumber the humans.
The pace of this movie doesn't change. This is what you get.
Yes?
Dr. Raven,
Yes?
Ultima Thule,
Number.
96.
Come in.
Ultima
Sorry,
Thule.
I
he
didn't
said.
recognize you. All clickers look alike to me.
Thank you, Doctor. Certain of us prefer not to be called clickers.
Peel off that syntheskin and you could watch the cogs turn and the gears mesh. You trying to tell me you have feeling?
Certain of the higher calibers do.
I've been working on a sticky electronic reflex problem. I just can't make this arm bend at the elbow and the fist clench.
What circuitry are you using?
1.3 impulsion to the motor neuron and modulating 28 to the sensory neuron.
The calculations are right, but you have them reversed.
Darn it. Dyslexic scientist. Yeah, Javier says he hasn't been able to log into Twitch. He's watching us, but he can't join us on the chat at Twitch. He hasn't been able to log in.
I sure hate to have a bunch of cogs and wheels show me up. But then you always do. As soon as I clear this table, you'll get to work.
Yep, cogs will cogs.
All right, you, take off that head covering.
And spacely space rockets. Take off that head covering. You mean my hat?
Hey, your lab did another excellent job. He's
Hi,
an
Angela.
exact duplicate of that deceased human
The
your
stream is
other
miserable.
pals brought in tonight.
These are
What did you
terrible
do with that
movies.
body?
Usual. Processed it, then destroyed it. Everything we need from it is right here.
We just
How
started
about the
this.
money?
How many hours left?
10,000 credits.
6 more hours.
You could be disassembled for having money that's not earmarked in your possession. What do they pay you?
They pay me nothing. Having no need for money, I have no desire for it.
You have no desire for it. I love it. You should let me rewire you. You don't know what you're missing.
No thanks. I'm satisfied as an R-58.
Where do you clickers get those credits? A man can have his memory taken for a year for giving wild money to a clicker.
The committee only gives us the money, not its origin. Perhaps we should hurry.
A man can have his
All right,
memory
you.
taken for a year.
Face down.
What?
On the table. Turn yourself off.
Yeah, Angela, we just started.
10 minutes will be plenty.
We just started this movie called Creation of the Humanoids. I was just telling everybody that this is. Oh, look at this artistic shot here. I was just
I
telling
never will get
everybody
used
that
to
the
that
pace of this
artificial
movie
blood.
never changes. This is
The lower
exactly what
types
you're
just
going to
tend
see
shut off their pain circuits when they get
for
hurt.
the next 2 hours.
The blood forces them to report for repair.
I wish it were some other color.
The copper tubing turns it green. This may be our last transplant for a while. Our supplier was caught.
In every
You can
scene,
see it on Telefax.
every character
Ministry
just
of Information
explains
doesn't want it
everything.
known that robots are dealing in robots. But only give the flesh and blooders something more to yell about.
They're a minority.
A loud minority.
Your supplier. Will they take his identity?
His memory will be dispersed tomorrow. What a waste.
Robots.
Why don't they just kill him? The effect of personal cessation is the same in either case. They just leave a hollow shell walking around.
He can still perform his duties.
But he's without a past, without hope. The dream gone.
Almost like being a robot, isn't it?
No offense.
I'm incapable of taking offense. But why is it the more we become like men, the more some of them hate us for it?
Yeah,
Men
Mike,
hate what they fear.
the movie that recreates the feeling of sitting
You
in
have
the
perfect
dentist's office
memory.
with magazines from
Infallible
3 years
logic.
ago. Yeah, that's
You never tire. You're circuited against anger and violence.
And in your world, that leaves us pretty helpless.
We have to study for years to learn what you pick up by plugging into a brain for 2 hours.
We don't refer to the father-mother as a brain.
Your father-mother's an electronic computer, just a machine.
Your parents were machines. It's just that they were engineered with flesh and bones. Neither are ideal components.
You came off a production line.
I know who created me. Hollister Evans in the Mark 47. You have to accept your creator on faith.
Who created your creator?
Yours. You see, we are brothers, aren't we?
I ought to know better than to argue with you clickers.
eye roll.
Can't beat your logic.
Humans aren't allowed to set foot in the robot temple. Yet we saw a man come out accompanied by a robot. I want to know why.
Those guys from the Brotherhood should be here by now. I wonder what delayed them.
Watch it.
Miranda, burn. Sick burn. Yeah, Mike is saying the script is like an owner's menu. Yeah, it's like stereo instructions. Like,
Why don't you beat it while you still have a beat to beat?
oh,
You have so much to say, I think I'll take you in for questioning.
That's as good a way as any to get your rating, Lord. I'm a captain of the order, and my professional rank is 8.
8.
Is this a cop?
Well, just stay out of trouble.
Are you threatening me?
Sorry, sir.
Oh.
Good night, sir.
How are my other transplants doing?
Quite well. Who was this man?
I only know he'd been drinking. Probably killed in a brawl. The clickers that found him removed all of his identification.
Will the drinking have any effect upon the operation?
It'll be interesting to see. What are you doing with these advanced models?
We send them out to intermingle with humans, to find out why some of them despise us so much. Then we can adjust and be accepted.
That's admirable, logical, and a lie. What are you using them for?
When is his interview time?
Same as the others. From 4 to 5 a.m., he'll know he's an R-96 and give you any information he's gotten in the interim. Other than that period of 1 hour, he'll think he's whoever that corpse was.
How often does he report to the father-mother for recharging?
Twice a year, but he won't know it.
Make it once a year.
He won't last as long.
What's 20 or 30 years? In 150 years, he's automatically renewed anyway.
Whatever you say.
Why don't you register this operation?
Because I'd just be forbidden to use it. Everything registered goes into the master computer. Then all of you clickers would have it. I want to be necessary to you. Hand me that large amber bottle.
Amber bottle.
Thank you. This sealer is wonderful stuff. For the next several hours, he'll have only the most basic human instincts. Might even be drunk for a while. Then the thalamic circuit will filter in, and he'll have a perfect human memory. He'll be whoever he was.
A man capable of jealousy, hatred, deceit, murder. Most interesting.
Yeah, see, I don't have anything to say about all
Why,
this.
men.
This is just...
Having such negative qualities
This is just droning.
feels so superior to us.
Too bad it isn't as easy to take those negative qualities out of men as it is to put them into robots.
And we have another hour of this.
Flesh and blooders.
It's inevitable. We must accept it.
Flesh and blooders.
I'll turn him on. He might be able to pass. At least we can save him. We'll carry out our part of the bargain. I suggest you eliminate yourself.
I suggest you eliminate yourself.
I can't. You don't know what it is to die.
If you don't, they'll take your memory from you. You were speaking of personality cessation.
I just can't take my own life. Are you sure the committee will keep their part of the bargain?
Okay, the only action scene is happening off screen.
You kill me. You kill me.
You know I can't. I'm contra-circuited. Maybe he has enough human instinct by now to...
Kill me. Kill me.
Accuse my sister of being in rapport with a clicker. I'll kill you, all right.
Okay, so did he kill him? Did he actually kill him? Wow. That was the most lackadaisical murder scene ever. Oh, whoa! An action scene. Even the fight scene is dull as hell. Golly.
We'll take that one and the clicker with us. I'll leave the body of the old man here. And call the police.
Craigus, come here. This one's a robot, too.
You must be mistaken.
We opened up a gash in his head. If that skull isn't molybdic, I'll take another course in metallurgy.
Another course?
So the robot finally became violent. There's no doubt that he killed the old man. This is what we've been waiting for. The government will have to listen to us.
This is something, isn't it?
Yes, it's something.
The body of the Order of Flesh and Blood is born.
Yes, let's have another meeting.
One moment, please. May I have quiet? Since this is an emergency session, we will dispense with the formal rites. 2.5 hours ago, members of our surveillance committee captured 2 robots at the laboratory of a Dr. Raven, who had performed an illegal operation upon one of them. We have suspected operations of this nature and have complained to authorities to no avail. But this time, a specimen was taken. Captain Craigus led the group in this action, so I'll turn the meeting over to him.
Hello, men. About 6 o'clock this evening, 2 robots were intercepted and questioned. They were on free time and were released to go to their temple. Approximately an hour later, one of the robots was observed leaving the temple with what was thought to be a man. They were trailed to the address of Dr. Raven, where entry to the premises was eventually forced. One of the robots was taken without incident. The other had hair, no serial number, fought us viciously, and killed Dr. Raven.
It's against the first tenet of the manual.
Ward?
Brothers, that which we greatly feared has come upon us. The robots have circumvented the prime law. They've tasted blood, and there are millions of them. This is catastrophe.
Not quite. The large majority of the robots are Series 1 through 20, merely electronic machines. The Series 21 through 70, the humanoids, the ones we're concerned with eliminating, represent only about 20% of 1 billion-odd robots.
One of them killed. What's happening to them?
It's 200 million robots.
They hold menial jobs that bring them in constant contact with us. Their conditioned reflexes make them imitative, so they want to be a part of the race. They don't feel this is in violation of the code, since they contend that we would be happier on that basis.
Is the murder of that doctor part of an overall plot, a precipitant, or merely an isolated incident, an accident?
If the clickers thought his operation was making them more useful to us, they wouldn't kill him intentionally.
Then there's no rescission of the prime law. They can't hurt us?
There's been only a miswiring.
We'd better make sure.
And we shall. Fellow men, this is our opportunity. The robots have made the big mistake. They've killed. When this news is released to Telefax and the dangers made known, the ministries will have to recognize our petition and have the robots disassembled. The robots are machines. They must be made to look like machines.
Yeah, I can't come up with anything to say
Dr. Moffat,
to
will
this.
you bring
This
in the
is just
subject robot and give the findings?
this is
You
just
didn't
a
turn it over to
slog.
the police?
All in good time.
Yeah, Chris,
You know how
but
lax
the
police
director
are
had
in
a
enforcing laws
vision.
concerning the robots.
Yeah.
We must have our own facts in this case.
Will we get into trouble?
Probably a letter of reprimand. The police won't touch us. After all, the only crime that can be committed against a robot is vandalism. Now get them in here.
I wonder if we look up this director and see if he had a
Fellow men,
see if his background was in
analyzed the
directing
subject robot
documentaries
as
or
thoroughly as time
educational
permitted.
films.
He is a basic R34 type, but certain alterations have elevated him to a mid-90
He is a basic R34 type.
Mid-90. But an R100 would be one of us.
A perfect man. As good as we are.
He'd be better. He'd be perfect. Which of us could match that?
How does he fall short?
About the only power he lacks is that of self-reproduction.
The highest type improvement allowed by law is in R70, and that in limited number. What alterations were made?
I located and removed a small unit from the thalamic region at the base of the brain. It seemed to be the source.
The source of what?
We can't be sure. You see, all robots can see, hear, and feel. It's necessary to their function.
Naturally.
This one could taste
Naturally.
and smell. And what's even more interesting, he had a complete human memory.
Those refinements are useless to a robot.
Not entirely. This one thought he was a man.
How could this be?
Mankind is a state of mind. Man is no more or less than he thinks himself to be.
This is just...
Are you saying the clicker's a man? Your remarks are deviational.
Not my remarks, your interpretation.
I'm merely projecting your train of thought.
Which I am quite capable of doing myself.
Brothers, please. Let's behave like human beings.
Yeah, let's not get out of hand.
What test did you run on the unit?
Oh, God.
Of course, I've only had about 2
I've
hours
made a
to
terrible
work on the
mistake.
unit, but I tested it within the robot, removed it, and tested it in another robot with like results.
And what are your conclusions?
Nothing definite.
But you must have found
Nothing
something.
definite.
What?
Few surface effects that present only premises. The unit is gray, about the size and shape of an almond. I don't know what it is.
Tasted like an
I
almond,
don't know
too.
how to go about finding out what it is. I only know that when wired into the central circuits, the robot claimed to be an able-bodied spaceman second class named Kelly. Tests show he was telling the truth. When brought in, he was incoherent. I'm afraid I damaged him in removing the unit.
Evidently, they found a way to transplant memory.
We checked him through the Bureau of Identification. There is or was a spaceman named Kelly. This robot's fingerprints and
Bureau
retinal
of
patterns
Identification. The
check with those
BOI?
on file
Really?
For the man.
Well, if they duplicated this Kelly, do you suppose they killed him?
No, I think I can speak positive on that point. The robot denied it when wired for absolute truth. They found him dead.
Well, if the man was dead, how would he have a memory?
Memory consists of facts. Facts can't be destroyed, they can only cease to be used.
You say he was incoherent when he was brought in.
Yes, as though affected by psychosis or alcohol. His memory seems sketchy, disoriented.
How could this occur in a mid-90?
I think it was a botched job.
Then we better find out if there are any good ones around.
How? Test all childless marriages? The way radioactivity is cut down on the birth rate, this would be impractical.
Physical exams.
Touche.
Might not show up. This robot even had a simulated heartbeat and respiration.
But why?
Simulated
Why put
heartbeat.
such unnecessary functions in a robot?
He thought those actions were necessary for him to live. Can't you see, this one thought he was a man. When we convinced him he was a robot, he ceased to function and became that senseless hulk standing there.
Who owns the 2 robots?
The R-53 is owned by the Ministry of Education. This one has no serial number.
He was bought on the black market by the robots themselves. We caught the supplier and brought pressure to bear so the police arrested him. The man is having his identity taken tomorrow.
Anything further to report, Dr. Moffat?
The most appalling aspect is the discovery of this thalamic unit, if that's what it is. We don't fully understand the function of the thalamus in our own bodies. Unfortunately, that renegade doctor not only understood it, he synthesized it. Unfortunately, the secret died with him.
I want that unit completely analyzed. Is there anything to be added? This emergency session is hereby dispersed. Report to your various committees and evaluate this most startling development. Just a moment, Craigus. I'd like a word with you.
Or is it urgent?
Most urgent. Do you know an Esme Craigus Miles?
Well, yes, she's my sister.
Residing at 4456 Urban Way?
What about her?
She,
Was she hurt?
I wish I could say that was all. Craigus,
What?
I have to tell you this. Your sister is in rapport.
You're lying.
One of our agents ran across this evidence.
What?
Due to your high position in the order, he gave it directly to me instead of to the Internal Affairs Committee.
Can't believe she'd do it.
According to this paper, she turned in her analysis questionnaire 3 weeks ago. They're usually rapportized within 3 days.
My
Rapportized?
sister's been in rapport with a clicker for 2.5 weeks.
I'm sorry, my boy. I suggest you do
My
what
boy.
you can to see that this relationship is voided.
Naturally.
Certain of our ranks are jealous of your standing in the order. Our plans have been leaking out. This wouldn't look good.
I know. I'll put a stop to it.
According to the report, she's taken an R-49. They're expensive. Where could she have gotten the money?
They're expensive.
Well, until last year, she was resident with Stefford Miles. When they signed a mutual release, the settlement was a large one.
She's an assistant editor at Telefax. The rapport of someone in that position could be most damaging to the work of the order.
I'll see her tonight.
Okay, this is a new wrinkle. As if we care.
I'll see who it is, Esme, dear.
Wait, what?
Do come in. Though we've never met, I'd know that you were...
Out of the way, sticking clicker. I came to see my sister.
Boy.
Craigus.
It's thee, Craigus. Esme, what have you done?
Craigus, why did you come here?
To throw that clicker out.
That would be a dramatic gesture. You like dramatic gestures, don't you? You won't throw him out. Because you can't.
Your answer is no?
My answer is go ahead and try.
Don't think I won't. He can't leave without your permission.
Affirmative.
You mean no?
I mean no. Negative. N-O. I won't have it.
I'm the head of the family.
And I'm all that's left. Shall we take a vote?
How can you do this to me? A thing like this? Are you really doing it out of spite? If so, why? What have I done to earn your hatred?
I don't hate you. I feel sorry for you.
You want
Don't
that list
be trite.
alphabetically?
Be an artist, be a musician, even be a poet. But express your freedom some other way.
Even
you know
a
how I've always
poet.
felt about this sort of
Wow.
thing?
Do you know how I felt about it? Did you ask me? Did we discuss it? No. You had your business and I had mine. You never asked my advice. Why do you offer yours?
Esme, you have to understand. Perhaps, do you really realize the danger?
Craigus, do you think I was better off with Miles?
Miles was a man.
A beast. A filthy, stinking, drunken, insensitive beast.
Yikes.
Miles had his eccentricities, but he was still a man.
And
Eccentricities.
that's so important. Pax is more of a man than Miles. Or
Pax.
you could ever be.
I'll show you how much of a man he is. Stripped of his sham, he's not very pretty, is he? There, that's how much of a man he is.
What?
Thanks, Craigus.
I can't even see
for
what
proving
he's
my
doing.
point. Pax is much more of a man than you are. He could never do to you what you've just done to him. You'd better put some sealer on your arm, dear. Craigus, you're a fool.
Yeah, I don't know. You pull out
You
a
suppose
rubber band or
reorientation would
something?
help?
I don't know.
Help you or me? I think it might make something of you if you're willing to try.
Wow, more conversation.
You know my position in the order. How do you suppose this makes me look?
I hadn't really considered it.
You understand what the Brotherhood really does?
Perfectly. You hold meetings, wear ridiculous clothes. You tell each other how superior we are to the robots. Because you know we're not.
We are.
You're pitiful.
I need to take a bathroom break.
You aren't just charging windmills. You're trying to hold back the ocean with a sponge. Attacking packs.
Good analogy.
The idea.
Okay, I'll see you in a few.
Well, that was stupid of me.
He turned off his pain circuits, and you accomplished exactly nothing.
I don't see how you could do it.
Pax and I are in rapport. We're in harmony. He understands me perfectly. He instinctively knows what I want. I just think of something and it's done, because he thinks of it at the same time. There are no arguments. He's dedicated to keeping me happy. And I am happy.
You love that machine?
I love Pax.
And it doesn't make any difference to you that he could be doing the same thing for anyone else who bought him.
You're wrong. If he'd been bought by someone else, he'd be in rapport with them.
I don't understand you, Craigus.
You're not supposed to. Do you expect me to be friendly toward you?
If you want to be.
Well, I don't.
If you wanted to hurt me, I'd like you to know that you have.
How?
By humiliating yourself. You know I must consider your well-being above anything else.
That makes me feel better.
Good.
Can't you see they're killing us with consideration? Spoiling us into atrophy? What would Father have thought about this?
You're thinking of Pax as a person, aren't you?
Of course not.
Then why do you wait till he's out of the room before you say something that might embarrass him? You know he can't take offense.
I just don't like to talk around those things.
Afraid of their logic?
Stick to the subject. What would Father have thought about this?
You should know. You inherited all of his prejudices. Oh, what a flesh and blooder he would have made. Uniforms, boots, little silver knives to rattle.
Stop it.
Father was against everything. Space travel, atomic energy, synthetic foods. Remember how he loved to tell about storming the weather control station?
I didn't agree with him on those points.
My point is that you both felt an inherent need to be up in arms about something.
Well, Father would have seen to it that...
Oh, you both would have been great back in the days when war was a national pastime. You could have fired bombs and guns and thrown spears. Oh, what a wonderful, wonderful time you both could have had.
And I'm the one who likes dramatics.
You could have brought progress to a halt for years.
I feel sorry for you, Craigus. It must be a terrible thing to be so afraid.
Afraid? Me? Why don't you put your gears in reverse and get out of here?
You know that's impossible. I can't leave unless Esme wants me to.
Esme, tell him to go.
I have no intention of doing that.
Well, what do your neighbors think about all this?
Those who know don't mind. Others don't care. You've been wrapped up in that little world of prejudiced ostrich friends of yours for so long, you don't know what's going on in the world outside.
Wow. Is he still arguing with his sister?
Did you know there have been over 100,000 applications for rapport in the first 3 months of this year?
Our records on that sort of thing are fairly complete. Don't you realize the implication of that? If everything is done for us, there'll be no incentive.
Yeah, Miranda,
No
the
need for
analogies
personal achievement.
to
Even now we're losing ground.
and
Ground.
and Carissa,
knowledge.
the analogies to what's going on today.
Machines
I mean,
do all the
the
work
writer
for us.
obviously had
Why should we learn mathematics
things
when
to say.
the computers can find the solutions better and faster?
The fact that they put these guys in
We
Confederate
don't even control them anymore.
uniforms
The brains are designed by other
is
brains.
pretty meaningful.
The robots improve
But
themselves.
still, good Lord.
We don't know how. We give them data, they give us answers.
We only supply means to your ends.
Yeah, our end.
Every day and every way, we're becoming weaker and weaker.
And you're helping us over the hill.
We are over the hill. I can't stop
Whoa, what
us.
happened to the sound there?
Neither can you.
First, there were the plants. They developed into animals which ate the plants. The animals were small, but they grew. And the larger animals ate the smaller animals.
What does that mean?
So far, according to history, each dynasty devises its own end. The animal develops a brain, and the brain destroys the animal.
Our brains conceived you robots. Are you threatening to destroy us?
Yeah, Mike, that
Oh,
was,
no.
it was their watch out for snakes
We are
moment.
by no means sure that we are the next step. It's just that in view of the cycle, we are the best we have to offer to help you. The cycle is rather inexorable.
That's treason.
No, it isn't. It's logic. I have to be logical.
That must be Maxine.
Who the hell is Maxine?
Girl I work with.
I think
down
I
at
know who
Telefax.
Maxine is.
Does she usually come calling at 2:30 in the morning?
You did.
Well, that was because of your
You
idiotic
did.
alliance. What's she here for?
To help us celebrate.
Celebrate what?
My rapport, darling. My rapport.
See if
And
you can
if you're
predict
going
who
to
Maxine
continue
is going
being
to be.
antagonistic to it, I wish you'd leave. Now.
Maxine, how are you?
Fine. You must be Pax.
You must be right. You're too lovely to be wrong. Here, let me take your cell phone.
Thanks. Hi, yes.
Hello,
Yep.
Maxine. Come in.
Pax, you're wonderful. He's so glib, I'll bet he even has a sense of humor.
He'd better have. I paid extra for it. Say something funny, Pax.
Don't put me on, dear. I have a sense of humor, but I'm not creative.
Maxine, you're late.
Uh-oh.
Only 2 hours? For me, that's almost early. Really, I am sorry. I was called back to the office. A report came in that an R-34 had killed a
That was
human
pretty
being.
smooth, Miranda.
You can imagine what a stir that caused.
Craigus, your eyes are sticking out like a snail's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is my brother Craigus.
Oh? I'm so happy to meet you. Esme's told me about you.
Well, she's never told me about you. I didn't mean that to be as tactless as it sounded. I only meant that if she had, I would have arranged to meet you sooner.
You did.
Yeah, you did.
At 6:33 last evening, outside Telefax.
I remember. I'm flattered that you remembered, too. Oh, and I want to apologize if I seem rude.
You should be flattered, Maxine. This is the first time I've seen the Craigus react as if a woman were anything other than a poorly designed man.
Between my career
Oh!
and my
Oh!
voluntary work for the order, I haven't had too much time in my hands.
That was,
I'm
oh,
surprised
wow.
the kind of flesh and blood are here.
That was actually a
Is the
really
Brotherhood
deep cut
becoming
right
less
there.
hidebound?
No, I...
What would you like to drink?
I'll have what the Craigus is having.
Coming right up.
Well, what kind of work do you do at Telefax?
Bottom rung, the routing room. But I'll have you know that I have 8 robots and a real live girl under me.
Most impressive.
And they promised to promote me to research next month.
Maxine is an authority on political science. Her father's a director at the Ministry of Politics.
Something I've wondered about. Things are run by the hierarchy of ministries. What is the exact function of the Ministry of Politics?
With the coordination of the other ministries. Then, too, they service the selector.
Politics was once the means of choosing the leaders. Now, the machines do it.
Machines merely analyze the data given to them by us. The leaders are selected as a result of that analysis.
Do you know how the machine analyzes the data?
Well, no, not exactly.
Then how do you know if the father-mother uses all the data you give it? How do you know whether or not supplementary data is considered?
We don't.
Then you might almost say that the machines elect the leaders, that the Ministry of Politics is expendable. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm circuited to be logical and yet not to offend. That sometimes poses an insoluble problem.
I understand.
You see what I mean?
Please, I've given you a negative feeling. I must apologize.
Well, didn't your relays recognize that possibility?
I've embarrassed your guests. Shall I turn myself off?
You only said what I thought.
This is impossible.
Craigus, we fall in love when we see a part of ourselves reflected in another person. In the rapport operation, a part of me became Pax. I won't discuss this any further.
And I won't hear of it any further. I must go now.
May I go with you?
You find this atmosphere uncomfortable?
I'm fascinated by it. And by you. May I?
Oh, don't do it.
Would you?
But you just got here.
Esme, I know this sounds silly, but I really just came by to apologize for being so late. I'll come again later this week, and on time. It's almost 3 now. Congratulations. I know you'll be very happy.
Thanks, Maxine. There are still a few little adjustments to be made.
No. Pax was right. And so are you.
I hope I didn't.
You didn't.
This matter is far from closed. I'll speak to you tomorrow.
As different as our viewpoints are, psychologically, philosophically, in every way, do you think it will help any?
Craigus, please don't dislike me too much. Nobody asks to be created.
Good night.
Good night, darlings.
What is it, dear? Darling, you're leaving me out of something.
I'm sorry. It's the sense of humor. It's a lot more difficult to control than pain.
Why are you laughing, Pax?
For the reason everyone laughs.
Pax, what is it?
Irony. One of the funniest forms of humor.
What irony?
I'm not permitted to answer. I'm contra-circuited. I don't want to make 2 mistakes in one night.
I'm
What?
offended by not knowing.
The knowledge would be more offensive.
Pax?
Oh, I think Pax knows something we don't.
I love you, Esme.
Pax, what would you do if something happened to me?
I am you. Anything that happens to you happens to me. Oh, this covering, this housing might go on and on for centuries. Pax wouldn't.
Oh. Oh no. And there's that screeching.
I shouldn't have done that.
Again, that screeching sound.
I thought you never would.
Then you experienced it too.
Outside Telefax, there was a sort of tingle and
Oh.
then at Esme's, I felt a sensation of exciting attraction.
Oh.
I'm not a young man. Pretty well past the age to contract, as a matter of fact, but well, I've never been affected like this before. I feel like a schoolboy. I can't stop looking at you.
I guess I always thought this was just something that always happened to someone else. It's like Esme said. You fall in love when you see some part of yourself reflected in another person. I love you, Craigus.
Oh.
Don't, Maxine. I don't have the right.
The right?
When Esme and I were children, We spent the summers on our uncle's farm. It was near one of those old bombed-out cities. We used to sneak out and play in the ruins. Summer after summer, months, playing in ruins that were so hot with radiation that at night they shimmered in a blue light. No, I don't have the right to contract with a woman who might produce children.
But there are artificial means.
When Esme signed her rapport papers, she had to agree to submit to that. Contracting with me would be like going in rapport.
No, it wouldn't.
Yes, it would. Sure, they say the birth rate is 2.8 per contract, but over 25% of the newborn are useless mutants. The average rate is 1.4 per union. We're losing ground. We're in a headlong race towards disappearance. Machines will take over soon enough. As a man, I have to forestall that as long as I can.
Craigus.
They're talking about having children already?
Contract with me.
It's impossible.
What is she doing? Yeah, mutants. Yeah.
How much longer would our
this island Earth,
1.4 offspring extend the human race?
Everyone keeps quoting 1.4.
Well, the robots aren't bad, not really. It's just that man can't see himself supplanted without putting up a fight.
I don't understand your prejudices, your ideals, but I'll try. I want to be with you forever.
God, why?
I'll go anywhere with you.
Oh, dearest.
What?
Anywhere. Anywhere.
I don't... I don't get it.
One thing. Do me a favor?
What?
Tell me your last name.
On one condition.
What?
Tell me your first.
After you.
It's Megan.
It's Kenneth, or it was. When my father died, I dropped it. I became the Craigus.
Kenneth Craigus.
Craigus.
Charmed, I'm sure.
Wife of the Craigus. Rating. What is your rating?
Geron 8.
Gerontologist 8? That high? You're wonderful.
What?
You know, I took quite a chance. You might have been electronics or electrical engineer.
I'm just a nursemaid to a Mark 201 computer, trying to add a few extra years to our miserable span.
They've lost me somewhere in here.
You're something of a contradiction.
How?
Your work in gerontology deals with extending our lifespan.
They're
as
having
long
more
as
and more
possible.
problems with
And yet your
off-camera
hobby,
audio.
the Order, is concerned with eliminating the robots. They last over 200 years, twice as long as we do.
You think I'm taking my professional frustrations out on the robots?
Are you?
I've been a member of the Order over half my life. My father... We don't object to the robots as such. We only hold the humanoids are unnecessary. They're soulless, godless imitations of man. And in that form, they are not needed.
Soulless,
I'd much
godless
rather work
imitations
with
of
a
man, but they're
humanoid in
not
the
bad
office
in
than have
themselves.
all those little machines
What?
chugging about.
Spoken like a
Those
true...
little machines didn't resemble us. It would never occur to them to try to replace us.
But how can we criticize the design? The Institute teaches that the human body is one of the most efficient.
They're going to have this technical argument
For general
again.
usage, yes, but robots by their function should be specialized.
Why?
Because we can't let them get too far ahead. Frankly, we can't compete with them.
So you take your ball and go home. Why compete? Why not just relax and enjoy them?
Well, that's exactly the attitude the Order's trying to combat. It's shared by the police, the ministries, and the majority of the population. We of the Order seem to be the only ones that realize the danger. We recently discovered a most disturbing fact.
What was that?
The robots are organizing a pseudo-religion. They refer to their recreation centers as their temples, the master computer as the father-mother. When they report there for their periodic rechargings, they receive as well all the information given to computers for analysis in the interim.
But doesn't that mean that within a year, every individual robot will be in possession of all the knowledge in the world?
Exit humanity.
The internet.
But they can only operate in our benefit. Well, that's rule 1 in the manual.
Tonight, for the first time in history,
The manual.
a robot killed a man. Rule 1 must no longer exist.
Are you always so gloomy?
You don't worry about things like this, do you?
Well, I would if I thought it would help. Do you want me to?
I don't want to change the thing about you. Do you know it's almost 4 o'clock?
We should be going.
What are you going to do about breakfast?
I'm going to eat it.
Not alone.
Of course not.
She was kind of interesting at first. Now I'm like, what the hell is going on? I don't. And you're right.
What's the
Mike
matter?
says this seems twice as long as Metropolis. It's only half the length of Metropolis.
I don't know. I feel strange. Afraid.
Yeah, what the hell is going on?
Someone's watching us from out there. Somewhere out there in the shadows.
Yeah, Carissa, that's the one scene that I missed. Was look.
Regis, Miss Megan, will you come with us?
Is Angela still here?
But why should the Order suspect you, particularly?
First, it was the anti-robot rally. I was handling it, and the propaganda pamphlets failed to arrive in time.
I handled that. Craigus told me the plans during one of his interviews. The information was relayed to the automation device at the printing plant. It arranged for the press to break down.
That could hardly be blamed on you. Was there something else?
I was to lobby a bill through with the Ministry of Robotics, get them to set up recharging stations separate from the computers. We wanted to halt the interchange of information.
That was my assignment. As soon as I learned the plans from Craigus, I managed to have the motion pigeonholed.
Then there was the premature explosion of the bomb at Telefax.
His pattern of failure would be sufficient to cause suspicion.
My position in the Order is jeopardized for another and bigger reason.
What is that?
My sister is in rapport.
With the robot Pax, their personalities were melded 18 days ago.
Perhaps Pax should be reconditioned to become unsatisfactory. Then she will discard him.
Not wise. Craigus' sister is an editor at Telefax. Pax is especially indoctrinated in Morfield's suggestion.
Carissa, I'm wondering what's going on here,
Each time
too.
she sleeps, she is made more sympathetic to our cause.
Why didn't you warn us about the raid on Dr. Raven's laboratory?
My suspicions were first aroused at 6:30. The raid took place at 10 o'clock. I had no interview time in between. I must warn you, aside from these interview periods, I'm a very dangerous obstacle to you.
If the Order suspects him, it might be wise if we got him to resign.
So he is a
That's
robot.
easier said than done.
That's right. He's pretty ardent about the Brotherhood. Knowing the way he feels about robots, it's doubtful he'll act on any advice from us when he's himself again.
But he's in danger. The Order will take his identity away if they catch him.
They'll get a real surprise if they open him up.
One thing worries me. There are several million people in the city, and only 15 R96s. How did these two happen to get together?
There's
Oh,
always
they're
the
both
mathematical
R96s.
possibility of coincidence.
So slight as to be negligible.
It's possible that their identical operations might have created a subconscious affinity which would draw them together.
Okay, so this answers
better check
why
that
they're
out.
so interested in each
Their
other.
effect on each other was most interesting. When we picked them up, they were kissing.
That's understandable. Raven never tampered with instincts. You say the Order is now aware of the thalamic operation?
They know it is being done. They don't know how.
What are they going to do with Mark and the volunteer?
They will both be disassembled.
The father, mother. Yes?
Dr. Raven is out here. He has recovered from the transplant and is filtered in. He requests an immediate audience.
Have him come right in.
Dr. Raven is here? Isn't he dead?
I'm Dr. Raven, a younger Dr. Raven, as you promised. Who's in charge here?
A younger Dr.
I
Raven.
was. But according to our agreement,
Wait.
I'm more than happy to turn the responsibility of this project over to you.
I remember these two. They were done right at the first.
That's right. 5
what?
minutes to 5. The interview period is almost over. We better put them back in the street before they regain themselves.
I think not. He served well. I think he deserves to know the truth, and I'd like to try an experiment.
Is that safe? None of the existing R-96s are aware that they're robots. The ones we tried to tell ceased to function.
They ceased to function because they were without faith and hope, important elements to humans. To die and be resurrected as a robot is a deep shock. The sudden realization that they are experiencing all the emotions of a human and yet are mechanical is an even deeper shock. Their future becomes hopeless.
But what hope can you offer them?
I just completed the final stages of an experiment prior to my recent death and recreation.
Will it work for her, too?
I think so.
Her job at Telefax is menial. She's never been able to offer helpful information. We can study their reaction. It will give us an idea of the length of acclimation period necessary.
Be prepared to draw them off for transplant in case the reaction is negative.
We'll raise the tubes one at a time.
Your clickers.
Your terminology is crude, but your conclusion is correct. More exactly, we are the Robot Central Committee for the Preservation of Mankind.
Preservation?
Yeah, Mike is the only fitting
What have you
climax
done
in the
with
movie
her?
is have an asteroid wipe out the planet.
She'll return it almost any time now.
Who the hell are you, and what do you do with these mechanized mannequins?
I'm Dr. Raven. You came to my laboratory last night, I'm told.
You're lying. Dr. Raven was an old man, and he was dead.
I didn't like being old.
And he was dead.
And dead.
We must take the girl out of the Irrelathon.
Out of the what? What did he call it?
Are you all right?
I feel fine. What happened?
Dead, murdered, and someone
Where are
was
we?
responsible. Yeah.
Where are we?
You're in the temple.
I wouldn't set foot in this filthy machine shop even if it weren't illegal for me to be here. Now, why were we forced to come here?
You weren't forced. You were invited.
Why don't you calm down, Craigus?
You know me?
Quite well, as a matter of fact. You had the surveillance committee of the Order of Flesh and Blood.
So that's it. Well, let me tell you and these clickers something. I just met this girl tonight. She knows nothing about the Order. Let her out of here right now.
No, I won't go without you.
I think I'll open up a few of you clickers. Being held here against our will. I'll personally see to it that each of you are disassembled.
Use a clicker nerve pinch there.
You imposter. I'll have your memory pulled so fast you'll never forget it.
You may leave at any time you wish.
I should have expected something like this after that clicker murdered the real Dr. Raven last night. You didn't bring us here just to let us go.
The murder of Dr. Raven was both unfortunate and unnecessary.
That attitude in a robot can get you divided into components.
Perhaps. Krigis, are you familiar with the R-96?
I do remember when I saw
Knows
this
they exist,
the first time on
and
Sci-Fi
we know that
Channel.
you were the real Dr. Raven was instrumental in their construction.
Yeah, robot.
Creation of
I
an
do remember
R-96
seeing the robots holding him
requires
back.
A modified
He pulled
humanoid-type robot.
He pulled out his knife
and the
there. I
body
do
of a human
remember
being, which has been dead less
sitting
than
up and saying,
6
"Ooh,
hours.
an action scene."
What do? Change brains?
In effect. We perform a thalamic transplant, but that's a misnomer. We draw off everything that makes a man peculiar to himself. His learning, his memory. These interreacting constitute his personality, his philosophy, capability, and attitude. The human brain is merely the vault in which the man is stored.
There's some
And
Westworld
not a
shit
very
going on here.
ingenious vault.
Ingenious enough to create you clickers.
Creation is only the result of the fusion of facts which haven't been previously related.
Fascinating.
There's one other point that may be of interest.
Was that supposed to be?
What?
Was that supposed to be sarcastic?
Kragis, you are a robot.
A clicker?
What?
Me? Now isn't that something? Now that you found yourself capable of murder, I don't suppose anything as minor as an insult would offend your circuits.
Kragis, there are only 15 robots on this planet capable of acting against a human being.
Only 15.
You are one of them.
You're one of them?
Maxine is another.
Oh.
Look, you can tell the world I'm a clicker, but you can't tell me.
Kragis, they think we're something or someone else.
Well, that's exactly what's happened.
Are you genuinely
And you've made
enjoying
some
this,
pretty
Miranda?
damaging admissions. Clicker, you're in trouble.
Horace, would you prove the status
He
of
has
our
this
friend
look on his
Kragis?
face like, "Oh, am I?"
Proceed.
Wow. Yeah, this is Westworld.
Don't be afraid, Kragis. Take it out. The blade, Kragis. Look at the blade.
Didn't feel a thing.
Reflex action. Cut off your pain relays.
I'm no clicker. R96, anything. I hate robots. I'm a leader in the Order of Flesh and Blood.
And the only robot who can claim that distinction.
Cherry, have you been gone? Yeah, this movie is still on.
I don't know what you're talking. I'm me.
Guess what happened?
I was a child. I grew up. I remember it all. I had little hands.
Hi, Angela.
They grew larger.
Angela is still here. Hey, Angela.
I grew up. I can
Why is
eat.
his shirt shiny?
I can kill. I'm a man.
Kragis, think back.
Look
6
at,
months ago.
we may not get
You
another
remember
chance
a certain
here,
day at your laboratory? The day you blacked out?
Of course, been working hard. My work in
It's
the
like he
day.
has a fiberglass shirt on.
The order at night, I must have.
Well, it
fainted.
is the future.
But I got back to my apartment. I thought very well the next day.
That day, Kragis, you suffered a cerebral hemorrhage. You died.
I died. You performed that operation on me.
The father and mother informed us of your death immediately. We were able to retrieve your body before it was discovered. And the police
Angela,
informed of the
look
fact.
at the robot in the middle.
You were duplicated
if he talks
and
again,
transferred.
see if you recognize him.
This is some sort of a joke. The idea takes some getting used to. Me. The Craigus. A clicker.
That's right, Craigus.
But Miranda has decided that she's
You're handling it
genuinely
quite
in love
well.
with this movie.
Of course, you've had 6 months to acclimate. It's not really impossible, is it?
6 months?
Craigus, what is he talking about?
Don't worry about it, dear. What about Maxine? Is she really like me?
Exactly.
Craigus, I don't understand any of this. I'm frightened.
There's no reason for you to be frightened. Think back, my dear. Do you recall an
the ones with
unusual incident at Telefax?
the bald ones with the gray face makeup.
About 3 months ago.
3 months?
Wait, so she's only been a robot for 3 months?
The bomb. In the routing room at Telefax. Of course.
Craigus remembers it too.
No, it couldn't have been then. Maxine, we were only trying to discourage the pro-integration editorials. The bomb.
Oh,
We thought there'd only be robots in the routing room.
he set off a bomb that killed her?
But I was only stunned. I guess I went home.
He's all right.
You were killed.
I think the other two
One of
robots,
our robots
weren't
brought what
there
was left of you to us.
during the shoot this day.
We barely got you in time.
Yeah, nice
It did
Shatner
make you
move.
a bit thinner. You had a tendency to be plump.
What?
That's right.
What?
After that, my clothes didn't fit.
Wait, what?
Thank you.
How do you apologize to someone for killing them?
Don't ask me.
What did you do with our bodies?
They were of no further use. They were processed.
Yikes.
Processed?
Did you want them?
No.
In all these cases, we process the bodies. It wouldn't do to have a dead Craigus turn up when there's a live one walking around.
Yeah.
It's hard to think of yourself as being processed.
I would know about that.
But I still have my own face. But my hands, how can I feel so complete?
Because you are complete. A man is only the sum total of his experiences. You both have that as well as certain mechanical advantages. For instance, you can absorb knowledge directly from the computers without study.
But I just can't think of myself as a robot.
Well, who was better off?
Yeah, you said that.
The king who dreams each night that he's a beggar. Or the beggar who dreams each night that he's a king.
Don't get philosophical with
There's
us.
nothing wrong with us, Craigus.
That's just the trouble. We're perfect. Perfect machines.
Angela says you're right. The pace of this
You're a
movie
German
doesn't change, and I missed a lot of it.
Your branch has managed to extend life expectancy to more than 100 years.
It would be longer, but the radioactivity left by the wars is working against us.
Exactly. Births are declining at such a rate the father-mother computed. The human
Yeah,
race will
this
be
is just
extinct in a couple
dialogue
hundred
the
years.
movie.
We've been working against that deadline.
Like I said when we started, this is
According
like
to Rule 1 of the manual, we have to operate in the best interests
the writer
of humanity.
wrote out
That
his
rule has
personal
forced us to take
manifesto
these steps.
and just had everybody read it out.
Unfortunately, humanity doesn't always know its own best interests.
The material of the human body can't exist with the radioactivity, and it isn't capable of adjusting fast enough to survive.
We're making headway.
When I perfected the thalamic transplant technique, these clickers knew about it in a day and a half.
But if you robots had the process, why did you risk using Raven? Why
See,
didn't
the
you
other
just
two
do it
robots aren't
yourself?
there. They weren't on the shoot that
We
day.
tried. But the shock of dying and being resurrected as a robot was too severe. They re-died. A sort of an adjustment
They
period
re-died?
was needed. Then Raven perfected a way to gap the memory so that the death experience was erased. The subject was spared the knowledge
Yeah, Cherry says, I feel like I'm
of his
redying
new
right
type
now.
body until he was able to accept it safely. He refused to register the memory gap process, so we couldn't get hold of it.
If they didn't have the thought process to use on you, why didn't you die when you came to?
I originated the process. I understand it. I was pre-adjusted. I even made them agree to duplicate the body
Okay,
of
that
my
doesn't
younger
explain.
days when it became necessary.
Your death was necessary?
If I'd been taken alive and turned over to the police, my memory would have been dispersed and all of my unregistered
Yeah,
formulas
Chris,
lost
it's the same
forever.
room. They're just standing, talking
But
in the
then,
room.
They were able to save me and my memory.
How long have you had the process?
Almost a year. You two are the first full cycle transplants.
What do you do now?
Wait for the leaders to die and then reactivate them.
Yeah.
When the time is right, you will announce
Like you were
that
saying,
you've
Miranda,
achieved
they're all robots.
immortality. When the rush for applications is over, you'll probably be deified.
This is the same doctor that got killed.
So the machines take over.
At the beginning.
Craig, is it true that there will be nothing but machines?
Remember the one that got quietly choked to death, remember?
That we are machines?
Yes. Yes, it's true. Machines.
Keep paying attention though.
But you're a beautiful machine.
You know beauty. How do you feel toward Maxine?
I love her.
And you?
I love him very much.
And that's a lot for a couple of godless, soulless robots.
Are you godless, Craigus? Search yourself, it's important. Are you godless?
No. No, I don't think so. I'm not.
Then you can't be soulless. Look, a man may have his leg amputated. Is his soul decreased by that loss?
What?
No.
Not even a fraction of 1%?
Of course not.
What if a man loses both legs?
A negative can't be compounded. The soul would be the same.
A
You
negative
just get
can't be
artificial
compounded.
legs.
You've just received an artificial body. A new body. Ageless. Tireless. Disease-free and renewable every 200 years.
I guess nothing has changed except maybe a few chemicals.
In effect.
Well, that transplant must include the soul.
No, only the memory which includes the faith that there is a soul.
God, you guys are super focused on these shirts.
Whatever it is, you seem to have it.
And when the entire human race has been transplanted, death will cease to exist.
And birth will cease to exist, too. The most precious hope of every woman.
Oh.
How do you think these two R-96s would like to pick up 4 points?
4 points.
You can raise them to R100s, make them propagate themselves.
I worked it all out prior to my recent death and resurrection.
Of course.
I didn't want to turn it over to you until I didn't need you anymore. Now I don't, since we're all on the same side. How about it, you two? It'll take several simple operations. Hardly more difficult than removing a rib.
Oh.
Somebody has to be first.
Self-procreating.
It's a pretty sloppy way of doing things, but it fulfills a certain psychological need.
Paradoxical, isn't it? I spend my life seeking immortality on one hand and seeking to destroy it on the other.
I love you, Craigus.
Can we end this movie now? Holy Christ.
Of course, the operation was a success.
Uh-huh.
Or you wouldn't be here.
Bang. Bang. Twist ending in the final sentence. So there. Oh, God. Yeah, of course, Mike, you loved it. It was awful. No, Miranda said she loved it. Mike is saying burn it. Chris is saying, what is my life? And Cherry Round is like, what a twist! Yeah, that's the other thing I remembered about this movie. Was that stupid final moment. I was like, boo! 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 One thing I read on Wikipedia about this movie is that apparently, supposedly, it was Andy Warhol's favorite movie. And I'm like, I can believe that. That guy was such a phony asshole. Wow. Yeah, Carissa said, wow, I just lost an hour, two, not sure. Miranda says, I can see that, yeah. Oh, you lost 90 minutes there. Actually, you've lost, how many hours has it been? Yeah, how many hours did that take? But yeah, every hour that we spent watching these awful movies, 17 hours, yeah. But God, I do remember seeing this on the Sci-Fi Channel back on the first couple of weeks of the Sci-Fi Channel and thinking, holy Christ, that was a terrible movie. Yeah, the last 10 minutes alone, yeah, that was an hour all by itself. And you were right, it felt longer than Metropolis when it was only half the length of Metropolis. I was surprised at how interesting everybody found the argument with his sister. Because I missed it. I went to the bathroom, I went to the kitchen, I came back, the argument was still going on, and everyone was going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So apparently it was very relevant. I do have to admit, the guy who wrote this wrote some really relevant stuff about prejudice. And again, I like the fact that he put these brown shirt guys in Confederate uniforms. Pretty sharp. Yeah, Mike says he misses Bigfoot and Wild Boy. I think we all miss Bigfoot and Wild Boy. There was no opportunity for any jungle scenes in this movie, though. No. But Angela, if you're still here, if you haven't left screaming. One of the robot guys, one of the gray-faced robot guys was our friend Eros from Plan 9 from Outer Space. But we recognized him, of course. Morbid says, it wasn't my markers, but new pants. But yeah, Mike recognized him immediately. And he didn't have to wait to hear his voice. He recognized his face immediately. Or at least he says he did. I think he cheated. I think Mike cheated. Mike does that. He gets on Google constantly. Okay. It's already 4:30. we already need to get started with warning from space. Mr. Fox Guy, moi, he says. Moi? Cheat? All right, we're at $180. We have $10 donated outside of this the on-screen donation goal. We're at 180. Please donate. We've got oh God, we've got more than $1,800 to go. I do need to get on with it. This is these are the things that we need to raise money for. The last one on the list being of particular significance. We still owe $1,000 to our former landlord, according to a financial agreement we reached with them to get out of our lease. Once that's done, things will be easier. As you can see, some of the things I've listed here monthly, we have like $600 or $700 of monthly expenses that will go on from month to month. The donation link has come up in the chat there. You can use that link to donate. Mr. Fox Guy has shown Warning from Space before, and he says it's going to seem like Star Wars by comparison. See, that's what I was telling you about Journey to the Seventh Planet after we saw Wizard of Mars, and I was right about that. Journey to the Seventh Planet was a joy. It was great fun compared to Wizard of Mars. So which was worse? Do you all think? Was it Wizard of Mars or was it Creation of the Humanoids? Which was worse? Wizard of Mars was considerably shorter. Chris says, I still think Wizard of Mars. I think so too. Because literally nothing happened in much of Wizard of Mars. In Creation of the Humanoids, the talking never stopped. It never let up. So at least there was talking going on. And at least there was some... yeah, Chris says at least Creation of the Humanoids tries to be thoughtful. Yeah, Wizard of Mars was just... When the talking started in Wizard of Mars, it was just John Carradine talking nonsense. And a completely senseless ending. Creation of the Humanoids also had a senseless ending. But one that we should have seen coming. But we were so preoccupied with the idea that everybody was robots that we didn't stop to think that, hey, we're robots too. He actually, in the final sentence there, the writer actually escalated it. Actually escalated that. Oh, God, what an awful movie. I'm going to get started with Warning from Space here. Let me turn down the volume.